It's 15 minutes past midnight here in Cairo. Good morning. Hello and welcome to a new edition of Business Insider. I'm your host for tonight, Mohammed Abdulrahim. So we now have an extension of the ceasefire. U.S. President Donald Trump says that he has accepted the Pakistani mediator's request to extend the ceasefire in his war with Iran. There's no time frame for this ceasefire. Trump said a couple of hours ago that he was not in a rush, that the reports about the 3 to 5 day ceasefire limit are incorrect, and that he is very happy with the situation as is, and that he believes that the siege, the blockade he has executed on Iranian ports and on Hormuz is working effectively, and that Iranians will suffer from that blockade more than they will from bombardments. So does that mean that the threat to target the oil and energy facilities in Iran is off the table? Well, we're hearing some new stuff now from the U.S. president, and now he says he's not in a rush. There's not even a time frame for the war, and that is not even true that he wants to end the war before the congressional elections in November. So a new attitude from the U.S. president. Of course, the Iranians have said that this truce is meaningless. They don't trust the Americans. They believe they might be struck at any given moment, like what happened before during two times in negotiations. And they say that they will not come to the negotiating table unless the blockade on Hormuz is lifted and the blockade on Iranian ports is lifted. Now, the very interesting thing about Hormuz is that at the beginning of the war, Iran shut the Strait of Hormuz, and Mr. Trump had put the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, installed it as a condition for stopping and halting the military attacks. And then he celebrated its opening when it was announced by Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi a few days back. And now he is saying that he wants Hormuz shut. He wants Hormuz closed. The Hormuz that he wanted open as a condition for stopping military hostilities and attacks. Of course, Hormuz was not an issue before the American-Israeli-Iranian war. Now it is a very important issue. In fact, it is controlling the global energy markets. So we'll be talking Hormuz and the American-Israeli-Iranian truce at the moment with our dear distinguished guest here with us in the studio, Dr. Ahmed Ishak, the political and economic analyst. Dr. Ishak, good morning. Sorry for keeping you up so late. Thank you for being with us here. And let's start, before we talk about Hormuz and the strange shift or the shift in Mr. Trump's stance regarding Hormuz and whether the blockade is working, I want to ask you first about the ceasefire. How do you see the Pakistani efforts in succeeding to extend the ceasefire, and what does it mean at the moment in the struggle, in the conflict?
Good morning, Mr. Mohammed. It's a pleasure here to be with you, first of all, and thank you for taking me. About the ceasefire, I guess it was very important for both sides to extend the ceasefire, as according to the Pakistani proposal, in order to, as Mr. President, as President Donald Trump announced that, in order to receive a detailed and proposal from the Iranian about a final agreement for the ceasefire. In my point of view, maybe the extension had happened due to the great gap between both sides about both agendas of the agreement, because each of them has a different agenda, and even after the war and after a round of the negotiation that had held about 10 days before, there is still a great gap between both sides. As maybe they are focusing about one of the main problem or main gaps between the both sides is the enrichment
Right.
of the uranium, because American till the moment are insisting for a zero enrichment of the Iranian for the uranium. On the other side, the Iranian are considering the enrichment of the uranium as a matter of sovereignty of the Iranian. So it was one of the main challenges between both sides. Also, especially zero enrichment is for the uranium. It's very hard because the enrichment of the uranium would be helpful for them in many fields like industry, medicine, and many other fields. So they are considering this condition as a condition for stopping the progress and the developing of the country. So as a result, this was one of the main challenges for the agreement. The other main challenge for the agreement is also the unification of arenas, or the unification of the squares, because as we found that the Iranian are insisting that ceasefire would include the Lebanon also, and as a priority for the Iranian,
Right.
they are not accepting any kind of splitting of the arenas, or because they are considering their one of the advantages or one of the main strengths of the Iranian strategy is the unification of arenas, or the unification of the squares with its hands in the region, like in Gaza, Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen. So it's a priority for the Iranian to, in case of reaching a ceasefire, to include all its hands in the region, especially in Lebanon. A third point of challenge between the Iranian and American is the ballistic missiles,
Right.
and its limits, because the American are insisting to eliminate or stop this program. On the other side, the Iranian are considering this point, especially this point, as a kind of self-defense and protecting the Iranian regime against any kind of threat and strikes against American or Israeli. So these three points was many challenges, and it's expected to the Americans are expecting to receive what we call a proposal from the Iranian about how to reach a compromise through the Pakistani mediator in order to reach a final agreement for these 3 points.
Right,
Three
right,
points.
Dr. Ishaq. The Americans are waiting for that proposal, the unified proposal. Mr. Trump had said that one of the major reason he extended the ceasefire is because he believes there is a split in the ranks of decision-making in Iran, and that he wants a unified response. Seemingly, there is difference in opinion between the so-called hawkish group and the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps, and then the Doves, or the president of Iran, the foreign minister, and other politicians, maybe also Mr. Ghalibaf, the parliamentary speaker. But of course, it's going to be interesting to see when and if that response does come, because Iran has said that it will not respond or go back to the negotiating table unless the blockade on its ports is lifted. The blockade on Hormuz, which was originally blockaded by Iran, is now even blockaded, double blockade now by the United States. Now, Dr. Ishaq, you mentioned some very important points. In addition to the uranium and the nuclear file, which is